Hi, welcome to Charlene's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making beef shanks, and I hope that if you haven't used them before, that you might give them a try. It's like a pot roast meat, um, but a little different. It has a nice bone in it, and I really do like to use it for soups, which a lot of people do. And it looks like soap. See, it's got a nice bone in it. And I'm all for boned in meats, chicken as well. I've marinated this meat already. I've marinated them, see? Okay, so I'm going to put them on a paper towel. I've had them resting out of the refrigerator so they would be more room temperature. And then I have the marinade in this pot, and I'm going to bring it to a simmer and use it in my sauce. So I hope that you will think about meats with the bone in, and by that I mean everybody's always talking about the chicken breasts. I would buy the chicken breast with the bone, and the chicken legs, and the thighs, and I love thighs. So this just has more flavor. And so if you're looking for flavor, you want to get away from that blah type of result that you get when you cook. This might be an answer for you. So this is how my mother did it. This is how my grandma did it. My little Busha. They did a lot of stuff. And of course, they were cheaper cuts of meat. And nowadays, we're kind of thinking that way anyway because everything has become so expensive. So we're going to move that camera down a little bit. I'm just cutting away some of this fattiness around the bone. So I'm going to move that camera down so you can see more of what I'm doing. And here I am. So there we are. You can see this. Now it looks pale and not red like it would because it's been marinated. And I'll tell you, I've marinated in some vinegar and sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and all kinds of garlic powders, etc. And what I'm going to do now, I've dried this, and I want to cut away some of that meat, and it's just not working out for me. I guess my knife just doesn't want to help me out today, so I'm going to do it this way. No, still. Okay. I should have probably did all this before I started. But anyway, so what you want to do now is you have a nice little chunk of meat here, and I'm going to put some flour on it. I'm not going to salt it anymore because it's been salted, and I find that you got to really watch the labels on some of these seasonings that you buy because they tend to be, they have salt in them. One time I made something and I salted it in my normal way, and I ended up using a lot of these seasonings, like for instance, you have this one here is garlic pepper, and when you read the label, you find that there's sodium and quite a bit in it. So you got to really take it easy when you're using some of these seasonings. Here's another one that I really like, and it's rosemary garlic. It has just a wonderful smell. Maybe that's why I really like it. So now we have our meat on a paper towel. I cut away some of that gobbledygook, whatever it is. I do leave some of the fat on because it all breaks down and it adds, again, we're talking about flavor. Bone-in meat and some fatty tissues. Don't be so quick to throw them away because that's what's giving you the flavor. I'm all for flavor. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'll have to rinse my hands again. And take a nice fresh towel. And here we go. So we're going to take the flour first. We're going to sprinkle that around this meat like this. All right. And I put it on the paper towel so it would absorb some of that moisture because it was sitting in a marinade. Okay. And the marinade can be flavors that you like. Worcestershire sauce, as I said, you have to put some oil in that mix. And this is good for anything. If you're making a pot roast or you're making, let's say, a chicken even, you can marinate a little bit. I've marinated this overnight because I think that this kind of cut needs it. A pot roast, as I say, or a sirloin tip roast. I've marinated them too. And I don't know, they just come out different. So I'm going to turn the heat on here. And I've rendered some bacon fat earlier in the week because we had some BLTs. And so it's when you're frying up bacon, try to save up in a little cup some of that bacon fat because it adds a wonderful flavor when you're cooking. See, this is an old cup. It says, world's greatest grandfather. I got this from my little Michael. And there's this picture with Grandpa. So, that's the little cup. So when he comes over and he sees the cup in the refrigerator, he goes, oh, what's that? Well, you know what that is. So now, we're going to, let's see if I can bring this just a little closer. I've got my big frying pan here. I'm kind of get it nice and hot because what you want to do is give it make sure you have a good sizzle. I'm going to take you over to the other side in the meantime while that's getting, and here you can see my veggies. I've got onions and carrots, celery, lots of garlic cloves. Don't mind the asparagus. I'm going to do that later. And I took the bottoms of that asparagus that's kind of gets tough, but I'm going to put it in my roast, in the gravy. So for flavor. Garlic. I like a lot of garlic. You don't have to use that much garlic if you don't want to. Green peppers, green and orange, so you get some colors. And there we are. So we're kind of ready with that. And now, let's go back to our pan. It looks like it's pretty darn hot now. So, we're going to give this meat a nice sizzle. Okay, that's what I want to hear. And put it all in the frying pan. As we fry this meat and get it nice and brown. Now, some people put it in a slow cooker once they're at this point. I don't want to do that. I don't know what it is. I've used the slow cooker method, but I find that for some reason, unless it's my imagination, that it tastes better when I roast it. I don't know. It's a lot of people say, well, it has a soup taste, but because it's made differently. Okay. So now we have this nice and browned meat. I'm going to take it out of here, reduce the temperature completely. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? And it smells delicious too. So I'm going to put it in my roasting pan. All this wonderful beef shank. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little wine to this, and I'm going to deglaze the pan. You can use any kind of wine that you like. This one here is a rosé. It's a little on the sweet side. See, little on the sweet side, and I don't like a real a bitter. I like a wine that's a little sweeter, you know. So we're deglazing all that good stuff from the bottom here. scraping it all down because I'm going to brown up some of the onions and the peppers just a little before I put them in the sauce. Okay, so we're back again. I wanted to bring all my veggies here so you could see. The marinade that I had this meat in, I brought it to a boil. And also the sauce that I made when I deglazed the pan with the wine, I'm going to add all of that together, okay? And then I'm going to put it over the meat, right over that meat, okay? So now we're going to start to brown up some of these nice vegetables. We're going to put a little bit more of that bacon fat there, or you can use olive oil. That's fine, or any kind of oil. You don't have to. I like Crisco also, so you don't have to use bacon fat if you don't want to. But all of that kind of stuff is what makes things taste good. So, but if you feel that you don't want to do it that way, hey, you got to do it the way you like it. So now I'm going to add the onions in here to get a little browning on them again, because what? Flavor. So when we brown up the onions, particularly that type of aromatic, I won't put the garlic close. You'll notice I didn't even chop my garlic up. I just throw it in there whole, because it's going to, by the time this roast is done, this garlic you won't even find it. It's going to just melt away, really. So we're going to put some peppers in here, because those are the things that taste good when they're got a little, like a little burn on them, you might say. Or so here we go with that. Now I'm not going to add the salt just yet. I'm going to tell you that, as I said, I've refrained from that, because you can always add salt, but you can't get it out unless you add a lot of water or something. Now, because I didn't, I am going to add some bouillon, beef bouillon cubes. I'm going to put 3 of them in there, in that gravy, like that. I'm going to turn that meat on right now. I don't want it to get down. I'm going to set up my oven for 375. I do that because then I can always bring it down once it's in there, okay? I want it to get a good start. And so that meat will probably go for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 or 3. It depends. So you got to check it. After an hour and a half, you want to check it. I'm going to add my green peppers now, the rest of my onions. And everything's browning really nice in here. Smells delicious because you've got all those aromas coming through. I am going to add a little of this rosemary garlic to this, okay? I'm going to add a little garlic pepper. I love pepper. And this is, this one here is what? Oh, lemon pepper. Lemon pepper. And I'm going to add what? I probably will put a little soy sauce. You're going to think, wow, what's she doing? But I don't know. It just is incredible flavor. I'm going to add some paprika. And it says słodka paprika. This is Polish for sweet. Słodka. So, see, I live with my grandparents. My mother was working. My father was away in World War II. And thank God he came back to us alive. But while I lived with Busha and Jaja, you know, that's all I spoke was Polish till I was almost 4 years old. So anyway, here we go. We're getting this to sweat up a little bit and get a little nice browning on it. Okay. I'll throw in the rest of my onions. I use a big onion. You can use any kind of onion you like. A big sweet onion, or just a yellow onion. Sometimes I like them better, but I didn't have one, and I'll tell you why. They're a little stronger, and they do better with roast like this, rather than a sweet onion. I like a sweet onion with my burgers or raw, you know, but But when I'm going to put these cloves in now because I want them to get just a little brown. We're almost getting to a point where we're going to be putting it back in the pan. So celery, carrots, onions, garlic, those are the basics. Everything you're going to do, any kind of roast you make, you put this it's always the same thing, over and over again. Over and over again. Those are the things that give the flavor to your roast. If you haven't been doing that, well, start doing it. A lot of people, I don't like those vegetables or whatever. But you have to realize that the end result, you're looking for an end result. Now, I'm going to sprinkle a little of that smoked paprika, that sweet paprika, okay? Okay, and another nice thing I want to point out, my Busha Schwenkuski always used to say, cookie, anything you make, always add sugar to it. And you'll find that most products that you buy today, there is sugar in it. Now, that's about where I'm at here. I've got this meat coming to a nice simmer. I'm going to bring it over so you can check it out. Got a nice simmer to it with that gravy. I'm going to pour these vegetables over it, all over it. It's got a nice thing going here. You give it a little head start. And the garlic cloves and the whole deal. You see that pan again? I'm going to go with it again. I'm going to put a little more wine because not to waste all the goodness. Here's where I'm going to add a little soy sauce. I'm going to add a little fennel. Don't ask me why. I love it. I love the smell of it. And it just does something different. It's a flavor. I'm going to add my celery and carrots now to this pot roast of meat here. Not pot roast, but... So we put that all in there. I would make the pot roast very similar to that. Very similar to what I'm doing here with the beef shanks. Now those, the ends on the asparagus, you know, they tell you to put them in your soups. I'm going to put them in here. Why waste it? You can put it when you're making a stock, you know, they put all that stuff in there. Now in my frying pan, I don't have to work so hard because it just about took care of it for me, and those are flavors. So we put we put a little bit of soy sauce, and we put some of those little whole fennel. I'm also going to add a little ginger. Why? I love it, and I bought this ginger. Got this at Aldi's, and it's wonderful because it's in this little tube, and you just squeeze it out a little bit, whatever you like. That's what I'm going to do. I would say maybe it's a tablespoon. That's about it. And then it goes in the refrigerator. And you're all set, because ginger is hard to work with, you know. But when you're doing a really special Asian dish and you want to, you can grate it. But it's not easy. It's sort of a hard. So now here we are. Okay? So here we are. I always have a little cup, like a little cup. And I'll take the sauce that I've made, and I put it in there, and I take a little sip to see what I think, to see where I'm at. Let's just see, for instance. So I don't want to put my mouth in the whole thing, so I keep it separate. Okay, or I sip it. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. And you know, I put those 3 bouillons in there. It definitely does need a little salt, but as I say, take it easy when you're cooking, because I have made the mistake, and it was because I started using a lot of these kind of mixes, and they have salt in them, a lot of sodium. So that's my little tasting dish over there. And now I'm going to, I'll show you. I'm going to pour off the rest of my sauce. See. Wait, how can I get this thing? This is my first day at it, so bear with me. Okay. I don't know. I can't seem to get it in that picture. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in there now, the rest of it. I'm going to add a little water to this because I don't want to leave any of that goodness in the pan. Okay? That's it. So, my oven is just about ready to go. And we put in all these wonderful, wonderful ingredients, all fresh ingredients. And I think we did a lot to what? Enhance the flavor, to make something really special. So you can drop some of those veggies in the bottom of your roasting pan. I'm going to get a little aluminum foil because I do have a lid for that pan, but it's yay big, and I really don't want such a big pan. So I just use the foil. It's good enough, and it's going to seal that up. And I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll check back on it maybe in an hour and a half and see how it did. Oh, there it goes. He says, come on in, I'm ready for you. Alrighty, because I'm ready too. So we're going to put this in here. Whew. And there we go. And I'll see you again. Bye. I wanted to show you the end result of that meat. I took out all those veggies outside of the carrots. I put it in a separate little pot. I took some of that gravy out, and I added about a half a cup of sour cream. Okay, so the sauce was not hot, you know, it was just room temperature. And then I took a tablespoon of Argo cornstarch, and I added that to it and stirred it up and brought it to a simmer. Okay, so about a heaping tablespoon, because there was quite a bit of gravy in there, and about a half a cup of sour cream. And I got this very luxurious looking sauce, and God, it tastes almost like beef stroganoff. The meat is just as tender as could be. With my beef shank, that roast, or like with a pot roast. I do like mashed potatoes with it. But I came across something, recipe that I saw, where he took those little potatoes, you know, the gold ones, little gold. Yeah. I didn't have any, but it looked so good to me. I thought, I'm just doing it. I only have the reds, and I'm not going to run out to the store again. And so I bought, what I want you to show you is to take out these little eyes and ears over here. I call them eyes and ears, okay? So they're not looking at me. I'm going to take all this off, clean it up. I'm going to boil them up till they're tender, okay? Like all these little, whatever, what have you here. I just cut that off. I put it in the water, cold water. And then I'm going to bring them to where they're tender. Now watch them so they're not overcooked. Some of them you might have to pull out, you know, like they're not all the same size. You know, I tried to get the smallest ones I had. Next time I shop, I'm going to get some little ones so I can show it, but it was delicious. I cooked all these up, and then what I'll show you later what I do. After they're cooked up, I pour off the water, and I just smash them. And one of the chefs that I was watching, he did this. But my potatoes were just big reds. And you put them on a little cookie sheet with some oil, and you season it in a bowl, toss it all around. We'll do it later. But I just wanted to show you the beginning of all of that. As you can see, I've boiled the potatoes, and they're just really nice, not too mushed up or anything. I'm going to put them on this cookie sheet, and then I'm going to smash them, okay? And we're going to see how that's going to work out for me. I have no idea if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing, okay? But I have made them before, and they were really good. So here we go. Okay. So I'm just going to go like that. See? Like that. You see what's happening there? You see? Is that crazy or what? All right, and these are big. You know, he used these nice little gold potatoes, which I applaud, because I think that you might like to go that direction rather than these big ones. But I'll tell you, they were good. All right, so now we're going to smash this one down too. All right. Okay. So all the potatoes now look like that. Okay. So I'm going to put this cup in the sink here. All right. So now what I did is I put some oil in this bowl. Okay. I put some oil in the bowl. And I put some seasoning in it. So you put, let's see, let's just go on it. I don't know if I have my light on here. Ah, that's better. There you go. All right, so I'm going to put some onion powder, okay? Here's with this one. A little oregano. A little oregano. You got quite a bit of potato there. So this is rosemary with a little garlic. Garlic powder. Now I'm just looking, according to this, there was no salt in this. Okay, so there's the garlic powder. Here's the red robin. Now they put a lot of stuff in theirs. It's little sugar and salt, sea salt, spices, dehydrated vegetables, garlic, onion, paprika, yeast extract. Okay, so it's very tasty, and it's Red Robin's signature blend. It's pretty nice, Red Robin. And then this one is garlic pepper. I love my pepper, and I'm going to put a little lemon pepper, salt-free, just to give it a little zing. I think I'm going to add just a little more olive oil here. Now, I'm going to mix this up, okay? I'm going to mix this up all around. Real good. Now, I am going to toss some of these potatoes in there. Okay, toss them in. Just toss them in. Let's see if I have enough of what I'm doing. Yep, it looks like it's working. All right, so I'm just going to put a few more in here. I'm going to rotate it a little bit too. All right, so it gets coated with all those little spices that we put in and the oil. All right. Okay. Well, what happens when you put this in the oven? You put it at 450, so it's a high oven, and it goes for about 30 minutes. And you know they're cooked. So what's going to happen is they're just going to crisp up. They're going to get crispy. I think that they look like they're kind of coated. I'm just going to throw them down here because I mean, it's no big deal. They're just, you just kind of, and I'm going to put them down on the paper a little bit here. Spread them out. Just spread them out with the nice skin, you know. All right. I'm going to just taste one of these here, boogers. It's nice. It's got a flavor, a little flavor of all that stuff. It does not need any more salt. See how that goes? Just because of those different seasonings had some salt in them. I'm going to put this, now I have it on a little paper. Oh gosh, what do you call that? Senile moment here. Parchment paper. Okay. And I'm not ready yet to put them in the oven because you know what? The roast is still cooking. I did pull it out in an hour and a half, and now I've got it down for at least another hour because it was tough. It was tough. So, and that kind of meat, that's about right. Usually when I make a pot roast, it's always close to 3 hours. So hour and a half. And it's been in there now. And now, let's see, I got another hour and 9 minutes. So I'm going to cover this up when they come out, when that roast comes out, I'm going to put these potatoes in there at 450 for 30 minutes. That's when I'm going to invite you back in again so we can take a look. Well, here's the picture of those wonderful little potatoes, and you can see how nice and crunchy and crispy they all are, tasty, with all the little things we put on there. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll be back when I show you how to plate this all up. With that roast that I'm making, I thought asparagus would be really good. And I make my asparagus, and I don't make it in a steamer. A lot of people do. And I found that this was the easiest way ever. I just take a little frying pan. I get the water all boiled up. I'm going to move this a little so you can see what I'm doing. There's my asparagus is all here. It's all cleaned up. I cut off the little tough stems off, if you remember, and I put it into the roasting pan because it adds flavor, and why throw them all away? So I'm going to put this asparagus into this water in my frying pan, and I'm going to sprinkle a little salt over it, just a little, okay, like that, and let that come to a boil. And within minutes, they're done. I mean, it's the simplest way. And I can always, I can check it to see if it's done very quickly. And I just move them around. And I don't know if you've ever done it this way, but I mean, in about 5 minutes, you've got this wonderful asparagus. I'm not a person that likes to put a lot of sauces on my veggies. I just like a little salt and pepper and a little butter. And that's about it. I don't pour, like at Thanksgiving, they talk about that casserole with, and I just can't eat that. I just don't like all that gobbledygook that they put in there. I just like to taste the vegetables. Green beans, the green bean casserole. That's what they, and it's just way too, I don't like it. The only good part about it are those onions on the top that are nice and crunchy. So it's a matter of taste. I mean, sometimes you just gotta have that, especially if you grew up with it. My mother never made it that way. She always had her vegetables just, in a little butter, done so that they weren't too tough or too, because again, this is the problem with asparagus. It can very quickly get done too much, and then it doesn't taste very good. You want it's pretty clever to get it just right, and that's why I like this idea, because I can even tell when they're getting a little more tender. And it's just a little a little water at the base in the frying pan, shallow. I put the whole bunch of asparagus in there. Now what I'll do is when that water, because I only put a little bit, as it cooks away, I can just add the butter right to that, and that's my sauce, and that's it. Just a tiny bit of, and because I'm going to have it for dinner, I might have to reheat this a little bit or warm it up real quick in the micro. So they're beautiful, beautiful asparagus. As you can see, nice color. I'd say I'm just going to break it right there because I can always put it on a little extra. I'm going to put just a little, like a tablespoon of butter on that, and let it melt into that water. And I already turned off the steam on this thing. Just let it sit there in a nice little bath of, and the butter's going to melt around it. And there's my asparagus. And I could maybe just put it in another little container, but for now I'm just going to leave it like that. Now I want to show you how lovely that looks and how delicious it is. And it is. They're just, if I take one, that's another thing, taste it. Now here's a thin one. I took a little thin one. It's a little hot. But if I take a little bite, you know what? It's perfect. So that's how you want it. Now this thicker one might be just a little tougher, but I'd rather have it that way.